When we multiply and divide rational expressions, the steps are very similar to simplifying rational expressions. When you're multiplying, what you want to do is you want to multiply your two numerators together and multiply your two denominators together. And if there's any factoring that can be done, you want to do that as well. But then after you multiply the numerators and denominators, you want to cancel any common factors that you have. In other words, you're dividing. When we are dividing rational expressions, it's the same as multiplication, except for a first step is you have to flip the second fraction. In other words, make the numerator the denominator and the denominator the numerator, and then follow the same steps as multiplying. So we'll look at the first example where we have multiplication. We are going to multiply the numerators together, and I'm just going to write this as one numerator, 9xy squared, and the denominator would be 4 times 3 is 12, x cubed y. So now we're ready to cancel common factors, and this is equivalent to division that we learned in previous weeks. So we're looking for the greatest common factor between 9 and 12. Well, the GCF is 3, so we can divide 9 by 3, which is 3, and divide 12 by 3, which is 4. And then we're dividing the x squares. When we divide the x squares, dividing the x and the x cubed, we are subtracting. 1 minus 3 is a negative 2. When you have x to the negative 2, that means that the x squared goes on the bottom. And then when you subtract the exponents for the y, 2 minus 1 is 1. Since it's a positive, the y to the first power goes in the numerator. So our final answer is 3y divided by 4x squared. And when we are dividing two rational expressions, before we begin our two steps, we first want to flip our second fraction. So we're going to make the z become our numerator and our 3x cubed become our denominator. So I'm going to rewrite the first fraction just like it is. And then I'm going to write the z in the numerator and the 3x cubed in the denominator. And now notice that I no longer have division, but I just have multiplication. And the two parentheses side by side with no operation indicates multiplication. So now my step 1 is to multiply numerators and multiply the denominators. So that would give me 6xyz divided by 3x cubed z squared. And now cancel common factors, or we follow division. 6 and 3, the greatest common factor is 3, so 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I have a 2 in the numerator and I have a 1 in the denominator. It's not necessary to write the 1. It's understood. With the x's, x and x cubed, again, you're subtracting the exponents. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. X to the negative 2, the negative tells you that the x squared goes in the denominator. And we only have a y in the numerator, so that stays in the same place since there are no y's in the bottom. And then z divided by z squared, we subtract the exponents. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. The negative tells us that z to the first power belongs in the denominator. And so our final answer would be 2y divided by x squared